Hey guys, and welcome back to another ArmA 3 video. In this video, I'm going to be covering my personal picks for the top 6 total conversion mods of 2021. Now these mods haven't been released in 2021, some have been around for a few years, but they continue to get love and updates from their dev teams and have huge followings around them. So with that, let's get right into it. At number 6 is Scion Conflict by Moose. Now, I saw this mod floating around earlier this year, and for some reason I never decided to pick it up, but after a bunch of comments suggesting I give it a look, I'm fairly surprised by it. A simple yet impactful mod, this far future set mod brings a bunch of awesome science fiction gear. I get big PlanetSide vibes from this mod for some reason, and I love that game, so this is a win for me. The infantry come in light, medium, and heavy variants, as well as an officer and marksman with their own unique weapons. The mod itself has very unique weapon sounds, placing you firmly in that futuristic setting. The grenades are a lot of fun to use and see go off with their blue flare as well. Vehicle-wise, an APC and dropship for both sides is available that are okay, not the best, not the worst, fun to use for sure. If you've had this mod on your back burner, I suggest you give it a look. At number 5, we have Cold War Rearmed 3 by Wool and the Cold War Rearmed mod team. Cold War Rearmed 3 is a time machine that takes you back to 1985 when East met West head-on over a flashpoint in the Malden Islands. Western forces had a tiny footprint on the islands at the time and would be largely overwhelmed by the Eastern offensive, but held out long enough for reinforcements to arrive. Faithfully recreating this vibe, equipment and vehicles are period appropriate and beautifully built and textured using cup assets as a foundation. The recently released Cold War Rearmed map pack helps bring you back to those early days even more by allowing you to revisit those early open world stomping grounds. Hands down, my favorite 80s themed mod. I'll always love the nostalgia of Operation Flashpoint and the world that game opened up for me. At number 4 is Faces of War by G.SKILL et al. Given the mod's download count, I'm willing to bet it needs no introduction, but just in case you've not heard of it, Face of War is the premier World War II mod pack. There are a ton of amazing World War II assets in this mod that are gorgeous to look at and utilize in game. The weapon sounds are fantastic and the modeling is phenomenal. I haven't found a single glaring texture that stood out to me as ugly, and this mod really nails the World War II feel. Tons of unique reloading animations are included, some that are spot on and some that are a little wonky, but you can tell the devs were pushing the engine to its limits. There's a lot of history buffs that play ArmA 3 for its realism factor, coupled with its historical mods, and Faces of War is definitely one for them. Period-specific German, British, and American, as well as Japanese troops are available to play as. There's a few tanks as well as a couple aircraft. This mod isn't as wide in content as, say, Unsung, but the depth they went with the detail of the assets that are presented are gorgeous and well worth your download. At number 3 is Star Wars Opposition by the Opposition team. When you open the game, the startup menu has changed to a Star Wars backdrop that is beautiful to look at and really works to set the ambience of Star Wars into place. Star Wars Opposition holds an insane amount of Star Wars content, from equipment and weapons to new character models and to gorgeously dirty ships that have been seen commonplace throughout the Star Wars franchise. Opposition content spans from the Age of the Republic during the Clone Wars into the reign of the Galactic Empire. My favorite part about this mod is how dirty and used the equipment and vehicles are. It shows wear and tear through decades of war, and this alone warranted a place in my favorites list, as mods that show detailed battle scarring and wear and tear are few and far between. There is also an Opposition map pack which showcases a ton of well-known locales from the Star Wars franchise. Star Wars buffs everywhere love this mod for what it's brought to the community. At number 2 is the time-tested There Is Only War mod by E50 Panzer and his team. Hands down, the most brutal and terrifying sci-fi world ever put to print, the Warhammer 40k universe has been around since the 80s. Arguably one of the most recognizable figures in wargaming is the indomitable Space Marine in all his glory. This mod brings with it not only the incredible Space Marines and a ton of their vehicles and equipment, but also the Astra Militarum, more commonly known as the Imperial Guard, the Orcs, the Tau, the Chaos Space Marines, and even the Necrons. I simp hard for the Space Marines and their undying faith in the God Emperor, and this mod lets me dive into the fray of purging heretics and burning the unclean. Couple this mod with a death animation mod like Bloodlust, and you're in for one of the most brutal gaming experiences in ArmA 3. I would be remiss if I failed to mention the most incredible Unsung mod by Aegis. I would have included it on this list, but I've given that mod a ton of coverage, and I felt I should cover some other total conversion mods with this list. Unsung is the best Vietnam era mod available anywhere, so if for some reason you've been living under a rock, you need to be using Unsung for the sheer amount of aircraft it has alone. And finally, at number 1, we have Operation Trebuchet by Article 2 Studios. For those of you that need your Halo fix but want a more tactical feel that is impossible to get on Xbox Live, then Operation Trebuchet is what you need. Again, judging by its subscriber count, I'd wager you already have this mod, but in case you don't, you're missing out on the most premier Halo content anywhere. These assets are gorgeous, and the best part is this mod isn't focused on just Master Chief. This mod is aimed at the grunts, the everyday UNSC Marines and ODST drop troopers fighting insurrectionists and rebel forces. To me, that's an instant seller, because as much as I liked Master Chief, being a one-man army is only fun for so long. Being a part of a combined force operation is so much more rewarding to me, and if you're playing ArmA, then I'd guess it tickles your pickle a little bit too. Clad in multiple armor types and camouflage schemes, these assets are well made and help firmly immerse you into the world of Halo. Weapons like the assault rifle retain their unique aspects like ammo count, and the DMR is still OP as fuck if you ask me. Every game in ArmA 3 is a game of SWAT if you're doing it right. There's a few beautiful maps included as well, dropping you right into some of those lore-related locales from books and games. Overall, with the amount of Halo lore-specific assets that are available in Operation Trebuchet, this is second to none and hands down one of the most popular conversion mods on the workshop to date. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed my list of top 6 total conversion mods. As always, I want to thank my patrons for their incredible support to me and my community. I also want to thank you, the viewer, for watching, commenting, and subscribing. If you're watching this right now, you are this channel, so thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in the next video.